Welcome back. The crackdown, it seems, has begun. In what looks like a preemptive strike on anti-government protests, the Ministry of Home Affairs has put on hold direct foreign funding of NGOs. The Home Ministry has also clamped down hard on GreenPeace, an international campaign group present in 40 countries. The action has come after an Intelligence Bureau report which suggested that activism by NGOs was shaving off between 2 and 3% of India's GDP. The question, of course, is, are these NGOs being held guilty even without a trial?
After the big NGO scare by the Intelligence Bureau, Home Ministry has cracked the whip. Acting on Intelligence Bureau's recommendation, the Ministry of Home Affairs has put on hold direct funding of NGOs from abroad. The Home Ministry has asked all NGOs to intimate the Reserve Bank of India about all foreign transactions. This effectively means that all NGOs operating in India will now have to report transactions to RBI before drawing money from foreign countries. Reacting to reports of the Home Ministry crackdown, the NGOs say it reflected government's intentions to rein them in. Meanwhile, anti-nuclear activist SP Uday Kumar has sent a legal notice to the Home Ministry, alleging that the leaked Intelligence Bureau report on NGOs had been done to defame him. Bureau report headlines today.
The government says NGOs like GreenPeace cannot directly use funds from abroad. They must first check with the government. If these NGOs do nothing wrong, do they have anything at all to worry about, or is this just a preemptive strike against protest? Joining us on the center stage face-off tonight, I want to begin by introducing Samit Aich. He is the Executive Director of GreenPeace India. Welcome. Colonel RSN Singh is a former RAW officer, believes very strongly in the bona fides of what the government is doing. Nalin Kohli represents the BJP. Venugopal Doot is Chairperson, Videocon Industries. And we've got also on this program Biraj Patnaik, well-known activist. I want to go across first to Samit Aich. The government isn't saying in this latest circular that you cannot use funds from abroad. All the government is saying, you will tell us who's funding you, you will tell us how much funding you're receiving and what you intend to do with it. If GreenPeace has nothing to hide, you would surely welcome an increased amount of transparency. Why do you have a problem with what the government is suggesting?
Well, we have a problem with what is happening in the first place. It's about 8 days since the time the controversy broke out. Till date, we do not have any official communication either from the government or the MHA. What is happening is in the press, and the drama is unfolding in the press. I want to ask a couple of questions, but if I ask the questions, I want to ask, why is this IB report, by the way, it's called intelligence, and you started off by saying that it says that GDP to the extent of 2 to 3% is being shaved off because of NGOs. I think the IB should first decide whether it's 2 or 3, because every percentage matters, it seems, and it's just a vague way of just putting a report. But I mean, for a moment, if I just let go the figures, I think it's a malicious attack on an organization like GreenPeace. It is certainly malafide in its intentions, and I think GreenPeace is used as an icon for scuttling democratic space, which is guaranteed by the constitution of this country. And as an environmental activist organization under Article 51A and Article 21, individuals and organizations are expected to take care of environmental matters and resort to activities which will help a conducive environment.
Nalin Kohli, let's see what the Intelligence Bureau is advising the government. They say they want the government to cancel the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act registration of GreenPeace, reassess its tax compliance and place all its international affiliates on a Home Ministry watch list. Now, to anyone watching this broadcast, that would seem as if a fatwa has been issued against the GreenPeace organization. Now, Samit says the government hasn't reached out to GreenPeace at all. You haven't told them what the specific charges are. You haven't heard their defense, haven't given them an opportunity to explain their position, and yet you've held them guilty. Is this not akin to holding someone guilty without allowing for a fair trial?
Well, first I take offense to the use of the word fatwa, because I think it's deplorable to use that kind of a language for the government of India. The government of India is not my government or your government, it's all of our government. It's a government for every Indian citizen. Number two is, let's go to the GreenPeace issue. I think I've been on some panels with Mr. Aich earlier also. This whole thing keeps coming back 8 days, 8 days, 8 days. If they've written to the government will get back to them. I mean, we all interact. I may interact with A, B, C. I may
but
not
you
get a
aren't
response in the time
interacting
frame
with
that I
GreenPeace.
desire to
Instead,
hear the response.
orders have been
Third,
given for the Foreign
Let me
Contribution
finish.
Regulation
Let
Act
me
registration
finish.
of
Let me
GreenPeace to be
finish.
cancelled,
Let me
for its
finish.
tax compliance
Let
to be
me finish.
reassessed, for international affiliates to be
Well,
put on a Home Ministry
Rahul,
watch
if you want
list.
your answers. Rahul, you'll have to hear me. I'm going to, well, I mean, let me just answer the points, Rahul, because it breaks my flow and I go back to the top then again. So as I was mentioning about GreenPeace, about the 8-day issue, so I think from that perspective, I think that's not really an issue. Third, let's go. I think the IB report is not something that they have seen, I have seen, or you have seen. We are seeing it in the media. A lot is being made of it. What is the issue here? The issue might be, very expectedly, about some kind of monitoring of the funds that's coming from abroad. Now, when foreign direct investment comes in this country, 5,000 laws under various acts, look at the investment, the source, everything, etc. If it's coming in here, we've got just an FCRA. Maybe it's going to be a move to see that we have more accountability of where the funds are coming. And two, nothing anti-national should happen. If they are doing something which is in national interest, why do they have to
Okay,
worry
that's
so
a
much?
strong argument, and I want Biraj Patnaik to respond. Even when FDI comes in, the government assesses who's putting in the money, are there security implications, what will be the impact if this money comes in, and then foreign money is allowed to come into India. Nalin Kohli suggests that the government is only trying to bring about greater accountability. If NGOs have nothing to hide, they should actually be welcoming the government's move and not condemning it. Biraj Patnaik.
Yeah, I agree absolutely with him, and I don't think the government has anything to fear from NGOs, especially about selling the interests of the country, because our politicians have been doing such a damn fine job. I mean, we can sell ourselves to the World Bank, we can sell our interests at the World Trade Organization, we can sell our interests at Bali, and we can strut around.
No,
and
Biraj Patnaik, that's a political answer. No, you're not giving, you're not responding directly to my question. I don't want this debate to degenerate.
No,
I've asked you a specific question, and for your benefit, I will repeat it. The question is this: if the NGOs are not indulging in anti-national activities, if they have nothing to hide, they should actually be welcoming the extra transparency the government tries to bring in. Nalin Kohli suggests that even when FDI is allowed into India, the government wants to know who's spending the money and why.
Yeah. No, I don't think it is anybody's case, including GreenPeace's case, that we should not be subject to scrutiny. But and this is not political, because this is not about the BJP government. We had a Congress government a few days back, and all these IB officials who wrote this report were singing similar tunes then also. Number one. Number two, it is not politics, because both the Congress and the BJP, especially the economic right in the country, have always viewed NGOs inimically. My question to you is this: if you want to scrutinize us, please put all NGOs who receive foreign funding at par with foreign direct investment. The same yardsticks and measurements that you use for judging foreign direct investment should be used to judge NGOs. The same reporting requirement that you have for organizations who bring in FDI should be there for NGOs.
Is that something the government is prepared to consider and accept? Let Nalin Kohli come in and respond. He's got his hand up. Let him make a quick point before I bring my other guests in. Nalin.
Well, that's a simile. It's not exactly how it should function. There may be other ways of functioning. Second is, we'll ignore the first comment about the politicians doing a great job at it. I think there are good people and bad people. Just because someone will have the name activist in front of them does not mean that there may be bad activists also. There are bad politicians, there are corrupt government officials, there are corrupt media people. It's about bad. It doesn't mean the institutions or the whole class is bad. So I will reject that comment in its totality.
No, but I want to come back to what we're discussing without going off on a tangent. Colonel R.S. Singh, clearly the Intelligence Bureau has condemned GreenPeace and other NGOs, and the government seems to be lapping up their reports, holding them guilty without even reaching out to people like Samit and saying, this is our charge, do you have an explanation? Shouldn't the government be listening to these organizations to see if they have an explanation?
See, it's a regular report submitted every year by the IB.
No one's seen that report.
No, I have I have seen, I have got the data.
We haven't seen the report.
I have seen, and let me tell you, it is not for the consumption of the media, it is not for consumption of the GreenPeace. Okay,
well, you're talking as your
no,
you're holding.
You are referring to that. You are referring to a brand in that report, multiple times. We have the right to know what is there in the report.
Okay, just listen.
No, we have the right to know what is in the report.
Just listen to me. Now I'll tell you what is an open domain. They are saying, okay, you can castigate the IB, you can castigate the government. Now, I will ask the GreenPeace, have they lost 3.5 million euros a few days back because of currency speculation? Now, is this also...
That is as relevant as the cost of eggs in Beijing today.
Well, come on.
We are talking about an issue. We are talking about an issue which is of grave national economic significance.
Is Greenpeace...
Where is national economic significance in this?
Is Greenpeace...
What are you talking about?
Is Greenpeace...
This is just
Is
absurd.
Greenpeace indulging in currency speculation?
Absurd. That has
Please Google it. Please Google it. You will get your answer.
That has nothing to do with this debate. I think you're digressing from the point. If you can't defend your point,
let's come to
just
the point.
Stick to the point or just remain silent.
Hear my question and then answer it.
Am I speaking something wrong?
No, but you're not answering the question.
Nothing to do with the
question
cost
that
of
is being
China
asked is
today.
you're holding an organization guilty without giving them an opportunity to explain themselves. Is that not against the natural course of justice?
I want to ask 3 questions.
Let Colonel Arasan Singh respond to my question first.
Let me ask 3 questions
Just
first.
1 second. Can you answer my question,
Yeah,
sir? How
yeah.
can you hold someone guilty without at least giving them a chance to
This is
respond?
not a banana republic, for God's
Hey,
sake.
come on, yaar, I can't talk like this.
don't need to get
If he
upset.
keeps meddling in between, I can't talk like
Answer
this.
my question.
You will have to listen to me very, very patiently.
But you need to answer my question,
Yeah,
sir.
absolutely.
What I am saying is that I just give you the record which can be checked from Google. Now he is hyper because
No, answer my question, sir. Don't waste time. Answer my
Come to the
question.
point.
What I am saying, there is enough proof against them.
Where is the proof? We
where
haven't
proof?
seen the proof.
You tell
Where
me.
is it? What
They
is it to do
haven't
with the
seen
IB
proof.
report?
The proof is not about a government
What are we-
organization having proof.
What
The
has
proof
this
is-
to do with the IB
Proof
report?
requires that proof to be submitted before the organization for the matter to be tried and for the court to come to a conclusion that the body is guilty. That hasn't been done.
You tell me.
What has this to do with the IB
tell
report?
me all this kindness and empathy and sympathy and your bleeding heart only the Westerners
No, Colonel
have.
Arasan Singh.
And no, I'm just coming to the point about when the West was passing through such a huge financial crisis. How is it that there so much of funds are coming to them?
No, Colonel Arasan Singh, that is not, rhetoric is not an answer.
Absolutely.
I don't want rhetoric from
What
Viraj.
you-
I'm asking you a specific question.
you want
The
me to give-
natural course of justice entails that there be a trial, that there be a charge,
Have they-
that charge be shared with the accused, the accused be given an opportunity to defend, and then be found guilty by a court of law.
Have they, as per the report, have they assembled a Moily response team?
So what? So what? You had a situation in December when you had an environment minister was also holding a portfolio of petroleum and natural gas, which I think no country in the world has. That's one. You don't need to be defensive. Hang on.
Moily response team.
You're not answering the question.
What do you want from me?
I'm asking you a question. How can a body be held guilty without a fair trial?
I think there's more heat.
Who has held them guilty?
I think there's more heat than
You're
illumination.
wanting their licenses to be cancelled. You are demanding that the tax compliance be reassessed.
Yeah.
You are saying all international affiliates should be put on a home ministry watch list. And Colonel Arasan Singh, Nalin Kohli is not being able to explain why this is being done without a trial. There must surely be
Is
a
there
trial.
a Moily response team? I'm asking.
But-
Isn't an anti-national act? You tell me.
What is an anti-national
Who
That's
is
an important
Greenpeace
question.
to teach to assemble a team and Moily response team?
My constitution guarantees me to assemble and be non-violent and to protest around
Rahul,
that.
can I come in?
Why do you have a problem with
Rahul.
that? I'm within the constitution. Do what I'm
Nalin,
doing. What's the problem?
the process
Rahul,
of fair trial requires that there be a case, that there be a
I'm trying
charge,
to
that
answer.
the
If we
accused
can have a
answer.
little peace.
Nalin, why is that not being done?
Well, I think that's an important question.
Do you have an
Let
answer
me
to
try
that?
and answer now that there is a little quiet. That's an important question, Rahul. I'm answering. May I answer it?
Yes, of course you must.
So I think that's an important question,
Now
but your
know
question is based on the basic premise that they've been declared guilty. What is the guilty? What are they declared guilty of? Is there a charge that's been declared? If, for example, there is going to be a tinkering in the laws of the land, does that mean someone is guilty? The Income Tax Act can be changed and require you
No,
and
but so
me
far
to
laws
give
haven't
more,
been changed. We have to
details
look at the
about
material
how we go
evidence
about
available.
our
Otherwise,
financial
Greenpeace only
No
creditors.
law
Hold
has
on,
been
Greenpeace
changed
hold
so
on.
far.
So if
What we've
one minute,
seen is
hold
that
on,
the
hold
IB has
on,
advised
let
the
me
government
finish.
for the Foreign
Let
Contribution
me
Regulation
finish.
Act registration of
can we
Greenpeace to be
just finish
cancelled.
an answer?
I'm asking you
May I
this.
just finish
What is
my
the basis
answer?
of this action being taken?
May
Where
I
is the
just
evidence? Why
answer?
don't we see the
May I
evidence? Why is there no
answer?
trial?
Nalin was talking about
Well, I
foreign
think-
direct
well, I mean,
investment. Let me put it in perspective.
may I just
March
answer?
28, 28, 2014, the Delhi High Court issued a judgment which is a very clear judgment against the two or three main political parties where they have had contraventions to the FCRA. They have taken money from Vedanta, which is a contravention. It is not my law. It has been passed on 28. I want to listen to that. I want Nalin. Please, I'm asking the politician in this room for the minute. I want Nalin to know and ask. I want Nalin to answer that how is that not an FCRA violation? Is laws only for NGOs? Aren't the laws applied?
Okay, let Nalin respond to that.
Yeah, I want an answer to that.
Just one second, Nalin.
March 28, 2014, Delhi High Court. I want a clear answer.
Well, my last answer wasn't complete. Let me just finish that. Well, I mean, if you will just keep quiet for a moment, Mr. Aich, and if we can keep our activism out and just go into a debate, we'll be able to answer each other's questions without any problem. So my point here on the first part of your question was that exactly when you're saying you're believing that the government of India has malafide intent, but GreenPeace will not have any malafide intent, maybe both don't have a malafide intent, and this is about looking at the entire act. So what's the problem about it? And I said earlier, if they are doing nothing wrong, why are they so hyper? The second question with regard to the Vedanta, or in terms of the question which came up in a high court, is that may I just remind you that many companies that are traded on the stock exchange, their value, their identity as a foreign entity or an Indian entity may change with a minor percentage
the
of
High Court
shares.
on section
And it becomes a
73 of the
Nobody
order
wants foreign funding here.
Clearly says without any ambiguity that it's a
Excuse me,
violation
sir,
of the
if you would just
FCRA.
hear.
I want to bring
go around in circles to confuse everybody. It's very clear. The High Court judgment is very clear. Point number 73 of the High Court. Please look at it.
They are concerned with
I
environment.
can't have a logical discussion.
Rahul, can I come in?
Just one by one, please. I don't want everyone speaking at the same time. It doesn't behove this debate. In fact, what I want to do is go across to Venugopal Dut because he's been listening very silently. Mr. Dut, just one second, Colonel Arasin Singh, allow me to moderate, please. Mr. Venugopal Dut, it would seem to many that the government is preempting all opposition in the process of giving green signals to big corporates such as yours.
Absolutely.
That because in the previous government there was a lot of roadblocks and development projects got held up, therefore they are now trying to push the NGOs into a corner. How do you as a leading industrialist respond to what's happening, Mr. Venugopal Dut?
Yeah, you see, NGO has played very important role across the globe, and everywhere NGO has been doing very well, and there is a Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. Under that act, NDA can receive any amount of donation, and there is another act called as Money Laundering Act. So that Money Laundering Prevention Money Laundering Act, there are officers across the country and they can check the end use of the same, and they have been checking, but so far NGO has been using it. Most of the NGOs has done a great job over here, and NGOs are required, and domestic funding is allowed, foreign funding if somebody is giving. Actually, you see, foreigners are very inclined for the donations for NGOs because they go for the best of the fund. One time I would say, one of the best foreign donor has once said that donation is very easy, but donation utilization is very, very, very difficult than to earn the donation money. So, you see, utilization proper in India is happening, and since that is happening, this so-called immediate reaction to the ban foreign exchange regulation, foreign exchange contribution act, and all these are not correct. There should be committee, and government can have a great deal of checking. You see, all the public limited companies are getting a lot of foreign investment, and there has been a great checking, and everybody has.
Okay, you're making the same point that there must be checks and balances. Now, Biraj Patnaik must come in and respond to that. That there are checks and balances in the corporate sector. Venugopal Dut says there must be similar checks and balances on what NGOs do, and if those checks and balances are lacking, the government is doing the right thing by bringing them in. Biraj Patnaik.
Now, Rahul, let me just correct you on facts. Just on facts. The facts are that the the NGO sector would absolutely welcome the same checks and balances as the corporate sector, because we don't have checks and balances for the NGO sector. You're absolutely right. We have a very draconian legislation called the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. And if the corporate sector had to live under this regulation for 1 hour, all foreign equity into this country would disappear. It would fly faster than you can imagine. Now, let us come to the specifics of the case. GreenPeace is being accused of various things because they have a position against genetically modified foods. Now, I may or may not like genetically modified food, that's a different thing. But is the IB suggesting that every organization that is against GMOs is anti-national? Would that mean that the Swadeshi Jagran Manch, which is an affiliate of the BJP, Mr. Kohli must know them, and of the RSS, which is also opposed to GMOs, an anti-national organization? If I was in Mr. Nalin Kohli's place, I would be very circumspect in criticizing, because tomorrow some enterprising journalist may break a news showing that a lot of members of parliament and indeed some members of his own government have received the hospitality of the very foreign institutions that they are critiquing, that they have gone for meetings that official government of India officials have gone for meetings organized by the very same organizations that this IB report is panning.
We're going around in generalities. I'm trying to come to specifics, Colonel RSN Singh. And here my question. And the question is about evidence, and the question is about the need for a fair trial. We speak for no one. If Greenpeace is guilty, they must be prosecuted. But should there not at least be a fair trial, sir?
See, you are asking for specifics. I don't have the documents that the IB must have submitted to the government, but there is evidence which you and I know. In Kunda,
what is the evidence? Can I ask? Which both of you know, but we don't know.
I don't know what the evidence is.
Do you know, Rahul, what evidence
the evidence is?
What are we talking about?
So there's a charge.
Nonsense. Where is evidence?
Hey, come on, let me allow me to speak.
You do not need to be defensive about it. No, you are making statements which are cannot be validated. Where is evidence?
Evidence.
Rahul doesn't have any evidence. Do you have any evidence?
No one has seen any evidence.
I'll just tell you. I'll just.
But if there is evidence, it must be shown to them. They must be given a chance to rebut that.
Absolutely. Just evidence I'm giving you. Just ask them, do they dabble in Indian politics? Did they support a particular party and a candidate during these elections?
But so what if they did? How does it matter?
Rejected.
No, if they did, so what? There are so many NGOs working outside the government that have supported both the Congress and the BJP. How does it matter?
We will not allow India to become another Ukraine. If they have to do these activities, in Kundakulam, did they show video clippings to indoctrinate people in churches in Kundakulam? Ask them.
Did Greenpeace do that?
Prove it. When did you do it?
Prove it. This is the document I have. This is the document. What are you telling me?
I think you are adding more heat than illumination. Let's come to the facts.
You can't get away with this English, When I'm asking you about 3.5 million euros, you are saying, this is eggs in China.
Nothing to do with this debate. Nothing to do with this debate.
So tell me,
please come back to the point.
What sort of proof do you want?
So you are making an accusation. You seem to be defending the establishment. I'm not surprised. You are an ex-officer of the establishment. I expect you to be loyal to the establishment and you should continue.
I'm loyal to the country, but let me tell you, we will not allow you to turn India into a Ukraine.
There are laws
if you have to do these anti-national activities, please go. Please go to your patrons.
300,000 Indians support us in India. 300,000 Indians support us in India financially. If we are anti-Indian, 300,000 Indians, 3 lakh Indians support us. 3 lakh Indians support us financially. 30 lakh Indians support us online on the cyber media and mobiles. So if we are anti-Indian, I am proud to be anti-Indian because we got 3 lakh other Indians and 30 lakh Indians.
Where is the proof? Where is the proof?
What do you mean by proof? It's there in the MHA, sir. You go and look at the MHA.
Then show me the report. You said you haven't seen the MHA. No, show me the proof. You are talking of proof. You said that
we submit our records to the MHA.
I'm out of time on this program.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I need to end. But here is what I wish to say in this very heated debate.
Come what may, whatever this guy will speak, I'll try. This is a very good way of debating,
I think you should not be so upset and defensive about it.
But here is what I wish to say.
I know.
There may be NGOs working in India at the behest of foreign powers with vested interests. If the IB has evidence, that evidence must be put to trial. There must be a proper case. Only after those NGOs are found guilty and the evidence is found satisfactory as per Indian law, only then must action be taken. Otherwise, it will seem as if it could possibly be as part of a witch hunt. Let's end this program over here. We will return. This is a story that is unraveling and we'll keep tracking every aspect of it. I want to thank all my guests for joining me on Center Stage tonight. News and updates continue when we come back on the other side.